You're probably staring at a dozen drone ads, scrolling past the cheap foldables and the ultra-premium rigs, and wondering if any of them are actually worth your hard-earned cash. I get that hesitation. You don't want to spend a fortune on a gadget that ends up gathering dust, or worse, one that can't keep up with the kind of shots you need for your projects. And if you've already heard the hype about DJI's newest flagship, you're also wondering whether the extra megapixels and the new remote really translate into real-world benefits for you. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's break it down the way I would if I were planning a shoot. First, the camera. The Mavic 4 Pro ships with a 100-megapixel Hasselblad sensor that can record 6K video at 60 frames per second with HDR. On paper that sounds like a massive step up from the 48MP sensors we've been seeing. In practice, that extra resolution shines when you're doing aerial mapping, large-scale landscape photography, or any situation where you want to crop heavily without losing detail. I've seen footage from earlier DJI models where you could barely pull a 4K frame out of a 30MP still without it looking soft. The 100MP sensor gives you enough headroom to reframe in post and still keep edges crisp. For a real estate agent who wants to showcase a property from multiple angles and still be able to zoom in on fixtures, that resolution is a genuine time saver. The dual telecameras are another practical perk. One of them is a dedicated 2x optical zoom, the other a 4x zoom. That means you can get tighter shots without moving the drone closer to the subject, which is a safety win when you're hovering near power lines or over crowds. Imagine covering a wedding where you need a close-up of the cake from above but can't fly too low. The telelenses let you stay at a safe altitude while still delivering a clean, detailed shot. The trade-off is that you're dealing with more data per second. You'll need a fast SD card and a laptop that can handle 6K HDR streams without choking. Stabilization is where DJI really leans on its reputation. The 360 Infinity gimbal provides full axis rotation, meaning you can flip the drone upside down and still get a level shot. That's handy when you're chasing dynamic angles. Think of a mountain biker's trail where you want the camera pointed straight down while the drone flips to follow the rider's line. In my test flights, the gimbal kept the horizon steady even when the drone was buffeted by a mild gust. It's not just about smooth footage, it's about confidence that you can push the drone into more creative moves without worrying about a wobbly final clip. Low-light performance is a big question mark for many buyers. DJI claims the Mavic 4 Pro has 0.1 lux nightscape omnidirectional obstacle sensing, which essentially means it can see and avoid obstacles in near darkness. In a recent dusk shoot, the obstacle sensors still lit up when the ambient light dropped to a street lamp level, and the drone maintained a stable hover. The 100MP sensor also benefits from larger pixel sizes, so the raw images had decent detail even at ISO 6400, though there was a slight softening that's typical for any sensor pushed that far. If you're planning a nighttime cityscape or a fireworks show, expect good obstacle avoidance but be prepared to accept a bit of noise in the darkest corners. You'll likely need to do some light post-processing to clean it up. Battery life is often the silent deal breaker, and DJI has stretched it to about 51 minutes per charge on the Mavic 4 Pro. That's a solid improvement over the 30-minute sweet spot we saw on the previous generation. For a typical 2-hour shoot, you can get 2 full flight passes with a quick swap, which means less downtime and more footage. The downside is the battery's physical size. It adds a bit of weight, pushing the drone's takeoff weight closer to the upper limit of the class, which can affect how it feels in windy conditions. In gusty days I found the drones hover slightly less steady than a lighter model, so you might need to factor in a safety margin when flying in coastal or high-altitude locations. The O4 Plus transmission system promises up to 30 kilometers, about 18.6 miles, of range with a 10-bit HDR video feed. For most hobbyists that range is overkill, but for professional creators doing remote scouting or covering large events like festivals, it's a real advantage. The signal stayed rock solid even when I tested it at the edge of a suburban park, with virtually no dropouts. However, that long range also means you need to be aware of local regulations. Many jurisdictions require you to stay within visual line of sight, and flying near the 30 kilometers limit could put you at odds with the law. So, while the tech is impressive, it's more of a safety net than something you'll use every day. Now let's talk about the controller, the DJI